Welcome again, guys. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat to our subject, okay, Intermediate Accounting. So for our today's discussion, no, we will be continuing the topic about inventories and we are about to tackle about purchase commitment. Okay, buti pa yung purchase may commitment, di ba? Ikaw wala, charot lang. Okay, so again, for today's discussion, we will be talking about the continuation of the inventory series, no, which is talking about the purchase commitments. Okay, so ano bang ibig sabihin ng purchase commitment natin? Okay, so sometimes companies have make an agreement with another entity or a supplier or a vendor to purchase a certain item, okay, that are not yet available as of the moment, but they create a contract, no, to purchase that item. Okay, so that's typical in a setup wherein baka yung product na gusto nilang bilhin is seasonal o kaya naman it waits for almost a long time before ma-create, then they have already a contract so that sure na yung item na yon would be bought by that particular buyer. And also the seller will sell it to us, no, as the buyer. Now, mostly the sellers, no, retains the title of the merchandise. So when we are talking about who owns that merchandise or that product, it's still the seller, okay, which is being covered by the purchase commitment until such time na ito po ay ma-deliver to the buyer. Okay, so indeed, the goods may exist only as natural resources as unplanted seeds, okay, in case of agricultural products. So kagaya po ng let's say mga bigas, no, or palay, di ba? Palay muna siya that will be kumbaga for growing pa lang. Even yung mga mais, di ba? Pinapalaki pa lang 'yon. And others na agricultural products that are still on the process of growing. Okay, so pwede na tayo mag-enter into a contract on that na tayo ay bibili ng particular na product na yon, okay, after it was being harvested. Or it could also be on a purchase on a work in progress. Okay, work in progress na as in hindi pa tapos yung particular product, so we can already put a commitment to purchase on that. Okay, so we have various types of purchase commitment. Okay, it's either a cancelable purchase commitment or non-cancelable. So on the next slides, no, we will be discussing the differences between a cancelable purchase commitment and also non-cancelable purchase commitment. So by the way, guys, take note that once you committed to purchase a certain item on this purchase commitment scheme, okay, there would be either a contract or a written agreement between the two. Okay, pwede rin naman pong verbal, pero most likely, di ba, binding yung in terms of legal yung mga tinatawag natin na written or contracts itself. Okay, so let's first start the discussion with cancelable purchase commitments. Okay, so when we talk about cancelable purchase commitment, okay, it is not necessary that the buyer will make an entry to reflect the commitment on the purchase of goods that the sellers has not shipped. Okay, so once they have entered into an agreement, nakalagay po yan sa kontrata that it could be cancelable, no? So the buyer needs not to put an entry in its accounting record, no? Wala po tayong ilalagay na cost ng inventory, okay, in our initial recognition since it was not yet shipped. And also take note that pag sinabi nating cancelable, okay, ibig sabihin that particular buyer or even the seller could at some certain point in time until hindi pa na-deliver yung product, no, could cancel on that particular delivery of the product. So eventually, hindi nga necessary yung pagre-record natin ng anything in our accounting record kapag cancelable since we are not 100% sure na even we, the buyer, would get that product. Kasi nga, there is a provision in the contract that it is cancelable. Okay? Ordinary orders for the buyers or seller determines the prices at the time of shipment. Okay, on which the subject to cancellation does not represent any asset or liabilities to the buyer. So yun nga po yung pinopoint ko, no? So since there would be no liability yet, since we can cancel at any point in time, okay, so no need for us to record any asset, inventory, or even a payable or liability, okay, once we have this commitment. Okay? So nakalagay kasi sa commitment actually magkano yung babayaran natin, okay, at what date yung possible delivery ng product, okay? And also since cancelable siya, nandun sa provision niya na pwede nga po siyang i-cancel. Okay? So ayan, no entry required. Therefore, okay, wala po tayong i-record na anything in our financial statement or i-recognized or i-report sa financial statements at the end of the reporting period related to the cancelable purchase commitment. So hindi tayo na mag-entry, so wala ring lalabas sa financial statement po natin related to this. But if you find it useful for all of the users to see na meron kayong cancelable purchase commitment with a certain seller, then you can disclose that in the notes to financial statement. Again, if you feel or if you based on assessment, okay, think that this is relevant for decision making, then put it in the notes of financial statement, but there's no need for us to report it on the face of the financial statement itself. Okay, so overall, ang cancelable purchase commitment, we only record it until such time na meron ng actual delivery on us as the buyer and we have paid for it. Okay, or even utang natin, then dun po tayo magre-record. Pero hanggang hindi po dumarating sa atin yung particular product, no, then no need for us to record anything. Okay, so that's a cancelable purchase commitment. Okay, so if you do have any questions, please key in your questions to our chat box, okay, or comment your question in this YouTube video. Okay, so we're done with the cancelable purchase commitment. Wala masyadong complications itong commitment na to, hindi kagaya ng love life mo, joke lang. Okay, so ayan, no entries required. On the other hand, no, the last type of purchase commitment is a non-cancelable purchase commitment. So pag sinabi nating non-cancelable purchase commitment, okay, so we have a contract, no, na kung saan nandoon po yung ating commitment to purchase that certain item na nasa kontrata, okay, at a certain price, okay, at a specific date on which that product would be delivered to us. Okay, so unlike with the cancelable, okay, so in the non-cancelable, we could not be able, no, to cancel at any point in time, okay, whenever the seller or even the buyer feels na hindi mag-proceed doon sa commitment na yon. Okay, so since it is non-cancelable in the provisions of that contract, okay, the buyer enters to a formal non-cancelable contract, then initially lang din, no asset or liability at the date of inception. So once na tayo ay nag-sign doon sa contract na non-cancelable as the buyer, no need for us to record anything yet, just like the cancelable. Walang liability, walang asset. Bakit po? Because the contract is still executory in nature. So pag sinabi natin executory in nature, di ba, we have already discussed this in the conceptual framework that these are liabilities that are not yet fulfilled by any of the party involved. So hindi pa po na-delivered ng seller, okay, and then hindi pa naman mababayaran ng particular na buyer yon, then no transaction yet, okay, no recording yet. But again, based on the contract, they could not be able to cancel anymore. They need to wait until such time na ma-deliver yung product, okay, so that we could be able to record any sales or even record any purchases natin. However, take note that if material, okay, if material, the buyer should disclose the contract details in the notes to financial statement. So kailangan natin at the end of the reporting period, if nothing happens yet, hindi pa naman na-deliver, let's say the following year pa, magkakaroon ng delivery ng product. So no liability yet, no asset yet, okay, but if we feel again that this is important and material, okay, for decision making, then we need to disclose that in our notes to financial statement. Okay? But also, take note, ito yung kaiba doon sa non-cancelable purchase commitment compared with the cancelable. Okay? So if the contract price, so in the contract, mayroon pong indicated price doon kung magkano po babayaran ni buyer yung particular item na kinumit nating bilhin. Okay? So if the purchase contract price or purchase price na babayaran natin at that certain time, okay, is greater than the market price. Okay, so contract price again is the price indicated in the contract. Then the market price is the available price on the market participants, related to that product. Okay, pag mas mataas yung contract price kaysa sa market price, then the buyer expects that there will be a loss. Okay, so kumbaga parang iniisip natin, ay ganito lang pala yung value niya sa market eh, 10 piso. Eh contract price natin, okay, based on the contract is let's say 15 pesos. So we have a difference of 5 pesos. And what does it mean? We have already a loss that will occur, 'di ba? May loss po tayong mag-occur, no? Because we are committed to purchase it at 15 pesos. Kung hindi sana tayo nag-commit, okay? Wala tayong luging 5 piso, okay? So in terms of conservatism, no? We have losses that will occur because of that lower market price compared with the contract price. Okay? So our purchase will be affected in that case. Then, okay, in our conservatism portion, no, or even in our prudence na concept, okay, the buyer should recognize any losses in the period during such decline in the marketplaces. Okay, so we need already to recognize the decrease, no, in the value. Kasi remember that we need to immediately recognize any losses, okay, for certain transactions whenever it occurs already, no? So kagaya ito nitong nangyari sa non-cancelable contract na bumaba yung value niya. Okay, kasi if it's either mamaya, no, kapag binili mo na, bababa pa ng bababa yon, or it will stay as is. Okay, so we record losses, no, once the contract price is higher than the market price. So we will show that on the next slides for our example. Okay? So sir, paano pag mas mataas yung market price kaysa sa contract price? Do we need to put an entry on that? Okay, so eventually kung wala namang previous loss, then wala tayong i-record na any gain. Kasi hindi po tayo pwedeng mag-record ng gain naman, no? We are just conservative that we are going to record any losses kapag nag-decrease yung value. Pag nag-increase yung value, tatanungin mo, may loss ka ba in the previous period? Okay, pag may loss related to that, then you can reverse that loss or recover that loss, but you cannot exceed the contract price, kaya hindi po natin siya pwedeng entryhan kung sakali man na initially lang, no, merong market price na mas mababa, or sorry, mas taas kesa doon sa contract price natin. Okay, so I will show that mamaya in our example. Okay, so again, that's non-cancelable purchase commitments, no? No entry once you have entered into a contract. Okay, so if at the end of the reporting period, no, you need to disclose that information to the notes, and such case, if at the end of the reporting period, you find it na yung contract price would be greater than the market price, then we need to recognize immediately the loss related to that. Okay, so it's also on the concept of conservatism or prudence, or even on the matching principle natin. Okay, that we recognize the expense related to that. Okay, so let's provide an example related to a non-cancelable purchase commitment. Okay, so assuming that Sterling Paper Company, no, signed a timber cutting contract. So it's somehow yung sa trees, di ba? Since Sterling is for paper. Okay, so sabi dito, to be executed in 2021. So 2021 po yung execution ng ating contract. Okay, at a price of 1 million. So this 1 million is the contract price natin. Okay, again, that 1 million, whether they like it or not, no, Sterling will gonna pay that, okay, on the time of execution, which is on 2021. Assume further that the market price of timber cutting rights on December 31, 2020, okay, decreased to 700,000. So they have executed the contract, or sorry, they have entered into a contract na dapat magbayad si Sterling ng 1 million, but at the end of the reporting period, December 31, nag-decrease na po yung value natin or market price ng timber cuttings natin to 700,000. Okay? So, initially guys, on the time na nag-enter into contract si Sterling at saka yung contractor or even the seller or the vendor natin, okay, so no entry yet, no, is required kasi kakapirma lang nila ng contract. Nabanggit ko kanina that at the end of the reporting period, you need to assess whether there is a decrease in the market price. Okay, so from 1 million, naging 700,000. So meron bang decrease? Yes, may decrease siya. By how much? 300,000. So what do we need to do if it is non-cancelable? Okay, is to prepare an entry on December 31. So what would be the entry? we will be recording already a loss on purchase commitment na 300,000, which is the difference of the 1 million and the 700,000. So that's the decrease in the contract price. Okay, and then we credit liability on purchase commitment 300,000. Sir, why do we need for us to recognize a liability? Wala pa namang execution ng contract. It's because of the facts that even though we have a loss of 300,000, no, in the future we are expected to pay it. So marireverse lang din yan at the time of execution of the 1 million na payment natin. Okay, so right now we just simply recognize the loss, no, related to that purchase commitment. Okay, so we have a liability. So at your financial statement for December 31, 2020, no, under a non-cancelable purchase commitment, meron ka na pong 300,000 na liability because nag-decrease. Okay, yung value. Sir, paano pag nag-increase? Let's say 1,100,000. Kailangan ko ba mag-entry on that? Hindi na. Okay, hindi ka kailangan mag-entry since we cannot recognize a gain on that. Okay, kasi ang ano naman natin, ceiling amount natin na babayaran is 1 million. Okay, and whether waging 1,100,000 yan or 1,500,000, okay, it will just reflect kapag ginamit mo na or binenta mo na yung timber cutting sign if ever, or even you process it and use it in the production. Kumbaga, it's a gain on our mind, but it is not to be recorded here. Okay, unlike with the loss that it is in conservatism that we need to recognize it immediately since we are required to pay 1 million even though the value is 700,000. Okay, so you need also to disclose that in the notes of financial statement on December 31, 2020. Okay, so what if, okay, the contract, ayan, sorry, ito na, no, reported as liability on purchase commitment as current section in the liability natin kasi executed in 2021. Okay, so what if the company have paid that particular timber and received it on July 1, 2021? So na-execute na on July 1, 2021, ano yung entry on the payment? Okay, so we will record debit purchases na 700. Sir, bakit 700? Kasi the value as per our provided problem is 700,000 already. Okay, and then supposed to be, di ba, may loss dapat tayo na amounting to 300,000, but because of the loss have occurred in 2020, so we have recorded it immediately. Okay, so ang meron lang po to be reversed in that particular scenario will be the liability on purchase commitment na na-record on December 31, so 300,000, and we credit cash 1 million. So see, wala tayong loss na ni-record on July 1, 2021 since the loss have already been recorded once it occurs in the year 2020. Okay, so yan po yun kapag wala nang ibang sinabi, no, that you have only 1 million to pay and then the value of that item is 700,000 currently in the market as of December 31 and wala pong sinabi on July 1 kung magkano yung value nun. So we presume that the value will be still the market value on or market price on December 31, which is 700,000. Okay, so that's for our first scenario. No, we have paid it, okay, in July 1, 2021 and no further loss, okay, will be recognized. Sir, paano pag bumagsak pa or mas bumaba pa doon sa 700,000 yung ating value, no, at the time of execution? So let's talk about that here in the next example. Sorry, or on the continuation pala ng ating example. Okay, so if the value have decreased, let's say kanina, di ba, on December 31 you have 700,000, but at the time of execution it was already 650,000. Okay, so mas bumaba pa siya by 50,000, di ba? So what will be the entry? Okay, so for the payment entry on that execution date, okay, our entry would be debit purchases kung magkano ulit yung value, which is 650,000. Okay, then we have an additional loss on purchase commitment. Okay, sir, bakit may loss? Kasi previously, di ba, we have 700,000 and then currently at the time of execution, ang value na lang po is 650. So sabi ko kanina, nagkaroon po ng decline in the value still. So that decline of the value happens at the time of execution. So we need to record a 50,000 loss natin. Okay? So ayan, nagkakaroon ka lang ng additional loss kapag nag-decrease palalo yung value. Eh yun kasi yung ano yun yung parang risks nung non-cancelable purchase commitment. So, hindi ka na pwede mag-cancel kahit bumaba yung value and you need to pay whatever is in the contract, 'di ba? Na 1 million pesos. Okay? So, to continue with the entry, we debit the liability previously recorded on December 31, okay? And then we credit cash at 1 million. Okay? So, yan yung entry, no? Additional loss po siya. Okay? So, what if naman at the time of execution, instead na bumaba siya, okay, tumaas. Okay, so let's try to show it. Okay, so lastly, if the value of the timbers increased to 1,050,000 at the date of execution, so possible po ba yun? Yes, of course, based on the market participants, di ba, in the active market, you can check there naman whether tumaas or hindi yung value. Okay, let's assume here on this scenario that tumaas siya, di ba? 1 million initially, tapos on December 31, 2020, naging 700,000. And then at the time of execution, naging 1,050,000. Okay, so what will be the entry on that case? Okay, so ang entry natin would be debit purchases at 1 million. Sir, bakit 1 million lang? Hindi 1,050,000? Kanina, yung mga entrada natin for purchases is based on the fair value. Okay? So ito yung tatandaan mo guys. If ever man na tumaas yung market price nung contract natin or the items in the contract or the merchandise, we do not record it, okay, up to the extent of that excess. So we will not record it up to this 1,050,000 because our limit lang po is 1 million. We can record it at 1 million or lower depending upon the fair value, but we cannot record it at higher amount. Okay, so until 1 million lang po tayo. Okay, and then okay, you have to debit as well yung liability on purchase commitment, okay, na 300,000. So just simply a reversal of the previously recognized na liability on December 31, 2020. Okay? And we credit cash and we are about to pay lang magkano yung nasa contract, which is 1 million pesos. Okay? And then what happens since there would be no loss, okay, to be additionally recognized in that year. And syempre kapag hinayaan lang natin na debit purchases, 1 million, debit liability, and credit cash, hindi balance yung entry. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina sa theoretical discussion na once tumaas yung value, okay, we will not recognize it if initially wala namang recorded na loss. But if there was a previously loss recognized, so on December 31, nag-record po tayo ng loss na 300,000 and if that price on that or market value at the time of execution has already been recovered, okay, then we just simply credit a recovery of loss. Okay, recovery of loss na 300,000. So bakit hindi pwedeng credit to loss? Kasi di ba nire-reverse lang natin yung loss? Kasi po the loss was recorded in December 31, 2020. Eh di ba na-close na po yon sa closing entry ng 2020? So ngayon 2021 na on the execution time. So again, what you're going to do is just to credit recovery of loss. So anong account po tong recovery of loss na to? This is actually a miscellaneous income account. Okay? So, naging income na natin. Kumbaga, naging counterpart na siya nung loss previously recognized last time. So, you can recover. Ito yung tatandaan natin ha. You can recover only the loss up to the extent of our price na recognize na loss, no? Kapag much lower, let's say 200,000 yung na-recover mo, okay lang kasi 300,000 yung limit. Pero kung let's say nakita mo na nag-exceed kagaya nitong problem na to, 'di ba? Na 1,050,000 yan. So magkano yung supposed to be na value? 1,050,000 less 700,000. So supposed to be 350,000, 'di ba? Yung difference. Eh kaso, ang pwede lang natin na i-recover is yung 300,000 kasi yun lang po yung loss na previously recognized. So we will not do anything, no? Ito po, no? Thus, the 50,000 difference will not have any effect on the entry. Okay? And we only recover the loss, okay, on purchase commitment, okay, should not exceed the previously recognized loss. So hanggang 300,000 lang talaga yung ating limit as to the recovery of the loss. We should not exit on that. Okay? So I hope na naintindihan po natin so how the non-cancelable purchase commitment work. Okay, so also guys, just to clear, no, sometimes companies are entering into a non-cancelable purchase commitment because mamaya baka yung product na yun is pag-aagawan ng various companies, di ba? So yung let's say yung timber na yan, di ba? Yung ibang seller ng paper kasi in making paper they need that, okay? So baka mamaya kapag hindi tayo nag-enter into a non-cancelable agreement, di ba, pwedeng bilhin ng ibang party. Okay, so for us to be safe on that, we have entered into a non-cancelable agreement. But okay, as you have seen in the entries, just get ready, no, just in case that there would be a drastic decrease in the value, okay, because you will be recognizing a loss. Okay, but if there is an increase in value, no need for you to recognize it. Okay, because the limit is also is only up to the contract price po natin. Okay, so I hope na na nakadagdag ako ng aral sa inyo ngayong araw, okay, for the discussion of this purchase commitment. Okay, so we will be discussing this further in some of our examples pa sa klase natin. Okay, so if you do have any questions, just please feel free, no, to key in your questions in our chat box. Okay, as well as for you guys in the YouTube, you can comment your questions in our comment portion, okay, and I'll try to answer them once I've seen them. Okay, so again, that is for our purchase commitment part for our inventories. So I'll see you all guys in our next video discussion. So again, stay safe and God bless everyone. So thank you very much for listening and sayonara, okay? Wag kalimutan mag-commit. Charot lang, okay? Bye-bye guys. Bye-bye.